Architecture is a art when one consciously or unconsciously creates aesthetic emotion in the atmosphere, and when this environment produces well-being. As cited on asquotes.com, Luis Barragan was a Mexican architect who inspired many and showed many the wonders of architecture. The purpose of my speech today is to persuade my audience why the architecture of the Roman Empire should be brought back. Many of us have visited bigger cities and have noticed the architecture of some of the buildings is much more unique to that one city. And it stands tall, and the buildings are beautiful, and it's never in need of something excessive on its walls. The architecture of the Roman Empire should be brought back, because then the buildings that are being built right now won't look so generic. Its durability to time will withstand time for many, many, many years. And the gardens of the Roman Empire will help relieve stress in the larger cities. The first thing I would like to share with you is how generic the buildings are getting to be built these days. This is better known as modular construction. As cited on modular.org, modular construction is a process in which a building is constructed off-site under controlled plant conditions and is using the same materials and designing the same codes and standards as conventionally built facilities. Another thing worth mentioning is the theory that buildings shape how we feel. We now know, for example, that buildings in cities can affect how we feel and affect our well-beings and moods, and that specialized brains in the hippocampal region of our brains are attuned to geometry and arrangement of space we inhabit. As cited on BBC.com, the buildings that we see can affect our mood from good to bad. The architecture of Rome was often idolized by many countries, for example, America. The architecture was able to look intimidating yet heavenly. How are these ancient buildings still able to stand strong without the powerful winds of time being able to blow it down? As we all know, many of the buildings of the Roman Empire were built in the BC era. The Roman Empire knew how to build their buildings with its durability withstand time. The Roman Empire made their buildings out of a special concrete that they mixed themselves. This concrete was commonly known as Roman concrete. As cited from history.com, they found that Romans made concrete by mixing lime and volcanic rocks to form mortar. The seawater then triggered a chemical reaction through water molecules hydrating the lime and reacted the ash to cement together everything. Two examples of Roman concrete buildings that are still standing today is the Roman Pantheon and the Colosseum in Rome. The Pantheon was built between 27 and 25 BCE, and the Colosseum was built in 80 AD. Marble and limestone were also materials that could build buildings, but Roman concrete was the most popular that they used. Sometimes the things that they built weren't made for interior designs. The Roman Empire was a very stressful time, so many created gardens to gaze through, which is my next point. The gardens of the Roman Empire could help reduce stress. A study of the population of England in 2008 found that the health effects in inequality, which tends to increase the risk of circulatory disease among those lower down in the socioeconomic scale, are far less pronounced in the greener areas. As cited from BBC.com, greener areas tend to help lower the stress of living in big cities. There are many different types of ancient Roman gardens that can be built along with these buildings. For example, Hortus, peristyle, villa, and ornamental were their most popular. With building gardens with new buildings opens up the need for gardeners, which means more job opportunities for many people. Many of these gorgeous gardens that were used to relax in were also able to grow herbs and vegetables. Incorporating gardens to go along with the building, the staff will be able to save money with their food. In conclusion, I wanted to share with you the Roman Empire architecture and persuade to you why it should be brought back into fashion. I have explained to you that by bringing back the Roman Empire architecture, buildings will no longer look so generic and so alike. It will have a durability to time, and the gardens of the Roman Empire will be able to help relieve stress in cities. In the end, the world will continue to evolve, and people will evolve with it. Thank you for lending your attention to my speech, and I hope that this sparks some interest in somebody's mind.